Okay. Thanks for taking the time, James. So basically, the background to this is that we have Auto DevOps enabled by default for 20% of projects right now on GitLab.com. And I think since you did the work to only enable the Auto DevOps pipeline for like matching type projects, we want to bump it up to 30%.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the context, right? But then so given that link that I sent you, there's a few kind of things we have to monitor, just in case we accidentally create or cause too many CI pipelines to be created, basically. So I kind of, does that all make sense, by the way?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
the graphs don't though. Have you had a look at those? Oh my god.
no, I haven't looked. I looked at the graph swiftly, but I don't really understand it either too much. But it looks pretty up and down. But the main thing is, I wonder is that in theory, we shouldn't see a significant rise in CI pipelines, right? That's the theory.
No.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, it should use the same matching as Heroku-ish, which I don't know. It's quite hard to verify because you'd have to check. You'd have to check on a real data set.
Yeah, so this is where I'm wondering, how can we kind of have some confidence before we bump it up from 20 to 30%? Because we can only go up, we can't go down. Going down is a dicey business, I guess. That's how the nature of incremental rollouts go, because you don't know whether they're relying on that or not implicitly once you enable it. So that's why I was wondering if I want to kind of ask your opinion on like whether we should kind of simulate something before we do that.
If we can get hold of the database, then yeah, we can check. We can run the we can check for file existence in projects. It's not super hard to do, I don't think. Be slow though. It'll be really slow.
Just using database?
Oh, sorry, you'd have to get GitLab access too, wouldn't you?
Yeah, potentially. Yeah. That's essentially what the application is doing, right? I wonder, is it, so the next, I mean, this is probably a scale up. Is that possibly, is it worth it for us to spin up a new GitLab instance, import a few public projects, and then see what percentage trigger a match against the rules?
Yeah, you wouldn't even need to have a new GitLab instance though. You just use the right CI config, right?
Oh, they're the same CI config. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so you just get a whole bunch of projects and then commit an additional the Auto DevOps CI config and then see whether it triggers it or not. If it doesn't, then it doesn't. Yeah. And then, I don't know, say if we run it on 100 or even 1,000 projects, and we can see what percentage that triggers.
I guess the only tricky part about that is Auto DevOps has to be implicitly enabled, not explicitly enabled. But I guess you could delete that check out of the config file.
Out of the test commit that we put, right? Yeah, exactly. Because we're really just testing whether their workflow matches or not. Yeah, and that's it, really.
And I don't know. You can even just import. You could probably just, because I think it's under a workflow directory now, so you can actually just import that workflow into any GitLab CI config.
Cool. That saves us some lines in the GitLab CI, I guess. It's just
maybe, yeah.
Yeah, just import template, blah. Oh, I see. And then we don't even need to run the full Auto DevOps thing. We just have an echo blah, and that's it.
Right.
Yeah, because that's the whole point, really. Yeah.
But I still
that
don't know
makes
how
sense.
easy that's going to be, because how many projects do you think would need?
It's okay. If you want to do science, I would say
And how do you choose them?
randomly. I'd say if you want to do science, how many projects are there in GitLab.com? And then we say take a decent percentage as a sampling randomly, right? And then we, as long as that decent percentage is representative of GitLab.com, then we can have some sort of idea how much percentage of that sampling it is. So if say in our experiment, 5% of it triggers out the DevOps pipeline, then in theory, 5% of GitLab.com would trigger out the DevOps pipeline as well, in theory. Right? So that's why that's a test that we can do to kind of figure out what will happen, or have some sort of knowledge of what will happen if we bump from 20 to 30%. Or, let's just say if 100% of the thing triggers Auto DevOps pipelines in our experiment, then there's a problem, I think. And I think we want to kind of revisit. We might need to do more filtering or whatnot. But it's only 5%, then I think we can do it. Like if 50%, then maybe we might want to go up in a smaller increment, like from 20 to 25%, just to see what happens first, and then go up another 5% a week later. Those are kind of the numbers that I'm thinking of, but I'm not a science or statistician, so I don't know what representative means. is my problem. I think there's 1 million projects on GitLab.com.
Oh, really?
Yeah, something.
Generally, we can only test on public ones as well.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Public ones that are maybe have a license, I guess. So, yeah. So that's my theory. That's my kind of one way of verifying that before bumping it up. The other way of doing it is that we can bump it up by, if you don't want to do this kind of involved experiment, we can just bump it up 1% at a time.
Yeah. I guess the scary ones would be, like, I think the file matching is probably fine, but the scary one would be that if most projects end up being bigger than the 10,000 check limit.
Doesn't it just skip?
No.
It stops, right?
Mm-mm.
What? I thought you ran on Linux, and what happens?
Then it stops doing the workflow part, but it continues doing the CI part. Does that make sense? Like, it assumes that the check matched if it hits the check limit, rather than assuming that it doesn't match.
Okay. So does it mean that it creates Auto DevOps for Linux?
Probably, yeah.
Oh. Maybe that's the first thing we should test.
But we could increase the limit, I guess. It's just there so that there is some limit.
Yeah.
10,000 was built out of thin air.
10,000. Yeah, but Linux surely has more than 10,000 files. They will assume it anyway, which is kind of annoying. But we can live with it. I don't think there are many projects though. So on a kind of like bigger picture thing, I don't think there are many projects that has that many files, so it's okay. It's just a very interesting. Okay, it just doesn't bode well for the future of having GitLab.com being 100% Auto DevOps, right? Because any of those large open source projects will import their project, and then the first thing that it does is this random Auto DevOps pipeline.
Yeah. A random Auto DevOps pipeline that will probably end up disabling Auto DevOps, for what it's worth.
Oh, okay.
Because,
it'll fail and then it deserves itself. Yeah, it's rather, our Auto DevOps is rather pessimistic, isn't it? Like, I'll fail once. Okay, anyway, so I think that's a separate thing. I think what we're more worried about is that we don't have enough runners to handle any increase, any significant increase in pipelines.
Mm.
And as I say, especially if those Auto DevOps pipelines are not applicable anyway, and it'll just fail and disable itself or something like that, right? Just waste, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's
there might be
why.
another way we could check this if we have the data for it, which we might not do, is when we release this change, then there should be a decrease, right? In
Why?
theory. In theory. When we released these rules originally, how many months ago that was.
Oh, there should have been a decrease.
Yeah, there should have been a decrease in pipelines.
Ooh.
I don't know if we have that data though.
12.7. Does it apply retrospectively or only to new ones?
It would only be to, yeah, that's a good point actually. Maybe it wouldn't decrease. It just wouldn't increase in the same amount. It wouldn't increase at the same amount as it was per project.
But we haven't increased the percentage though, so.
But it should have slowed down the number of pipelines that we get per project.
Yeah.
But that might not be enough to measure. It can't work retrospectively because any project that fails on Auto DevOps would have had Auto DevOps disabled, and then these checks don't apply anymore. So,
right, but if the Auto DevOps has always been passing,
but then the checks will
then it will never match anyway. Yeah, I see what you mean. Okay. Let's look at the first graph then. Number of created pipelines. What?
Yeah, we'll share it.
Oh yeah, I'll share my screen. What? Number of created pipelines. This is a SQL statement.
I don't think
No.
absolute number of pipelines is that useful without knowing how many projects are also created.
Yeah. I'm just hoping you can see some sort of graph.
Because those pipelines are only going to be existing Auto DevOps projects that, and existing Auto DevOps projects have either passed before or all of their files match, in which case these new checks aren't going to do anything. So all of the ones that don't match have already had Auto DevOps turned off, so
yeah,
we're not going to see any difference with them.
Yeah. Grafana is pretty low. Oh, your internet connection is unstable. Okay.
Yeah, that's okay.
Maybe that's that. So that's the service level indicators for CI runners. So you can see there's some latency things which they use for the updates, where if it dips below 80, they get an alert, I guess. If it dips below 60, then it's like considered an outage. And I guess it's based on latency. So is that latency on when a job gets picked up, I guess? I don't know. Probably. I guess so. So here's the graph showing the state of pending jobs, considering the fair scheduling algorithm that we have. So pending jobs, list of pending jobs. So with the list of pending jobs dashboard itself, there we go. Okay, if you can see is running jobs, and I don't know what the rate line is. Is that like a target? So they're mostly kind of under 5 seconds, really. So that's kind of where we want to be. So if there are lots of jobs created as a consequence, then it will affect the wait time, really. Okay. And then Hodder also had this thing, which is kind of useful, I guess, which talks about number of failed pipelines, number of successful pipelines. Oh, it's increased. Cool. Why is minus? Okay, sure. That's the wrong way around for me. 1 week.
Yeah, we only have a week's worth of data. Or is that when you release this?
I think that's when it was released. And then there's the number of cancer pipelines. So in theory, we can use this to monitor to see if there's any kind of
What about skipped?
canceled, you mean?
No, skipped.
I skipped.
It should
There's
be
no,
skipped, right? Oh no, they don't even get created, so maybe there'll be no status. Oh, 0.
no, there's a skip here. Yeah, it's pretty zero-ish. I can't imagine how it would be skipped, but yeah. Or skipped.
If the workflow doesn't match, then in theory it gets skipped, but because there's no jobs created, it ends up not being created at all.
Not even being created at all. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how do you get a skip pipeline then?
By hitting the button, I guess.
What?
By hitting the button, I guess, after it's created.
Oh, that's cancelled though. Surely?
Oh. I don't know. Is there not a skip button?
No.
Don't know.
Oh, skip is like CI skip, is it? So you can put a CI skip thing in a commit message and then it will skip it. So
Okay.
yeah. But if you need to be using the Auto DevOps pipeline, I guess, the Auto DevOps template, which makes sense. Yeah, I think it's that. Okay. So I think this will be the most useful, really, honestly, if we kind of want to enable it by 1% at a time and see whether there's any effect.
I don't think this has enough data at the moment. I think we need to have more data before so that we can see if there's any difference.
So let it run for 1 more week.
Yeah, because what is this, like 4 or 5 days or something?
Yep, 5 days, 6 days. Yep. No, that's a good point.
Well, and because this graph is moving all over the place, I don't know if we could see a trend.
I don't think so. I have no idea what these things are. Down something. What does that mean?
I think it's already grouped in the query. It's got that 60-minute.
I see. Yeah, I see. I like this. Anyway, I'm messing with it.
Figuring out how Thanos works. I'm gonna use it.
I have no idea how this works. Yeah, if only we can put this in a graph somewhere. That will be good. Cool. So what we say is that
I still think we want those metrics plus the number of created projects so that you can compare the two.
Yeah. Number of created projects.
Or, yeah, total projects.
Across time.
Yeah.
Right?
Because presumably the more projects you have, the more pipelines you have.
Yeah. But can we assume? Now we can just divide. We can just divide by the number of projects here. Okay, I think. Can we assume that it's growing at a steady rate? I mean,
I don't know.
yeah.
I've never seen any project creation stats in GitLab.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with you. So what do you think about running the experiment that I was talking about?
Yeah. If we can automate it, shouldn't be so hard, right? Find some repos, push up a custom Git CI, see what happens.
Yep. Sounds good to me. Oh.
And then get told off by infra because we're causing lots of pipelines.
Oh, it's only 100 projects. It's fine.
Uh-huh.
You don't even need to do it. You don't even need to do it on GitLab.com. You can do it on staging. You can do it locally. It doesn't matter because all the script we'll be doing is importing, which is giant, I guess, which is with the biggest amount of work actually. Like the other one, running a runner and the point is actually pretty easy, especially if you're just writing a GitLab script to go echo or something. Well, we need to know. Okay, who's gonna do it?
I don't know. Have you used the GitLab API before? I haven't. I don't think it'll be too hard once we got things set up, but
Just need some statistician. So we need someone to verify that. What do you think? Like, do you think we need to do it, or do you think we don't need to do it?
if we think we can trust these graphs, then I reckon just do small increments until we're happy.
Small increments of 2%. I'll say 2% each. 22%, and then 20. All the way up to 30 and see what happens.
Because even if we do like a 10% change in CI builds, is that a huge deal? Or a 2% change? It's probably not that big of a deal, right? And that's like the worst case.
We don't have that many runners, I think. I need to see. Where's the runners? Where's the capacity planning?
Oh boy.
Gitly is running out. They need to provision new space for Gitly, which makes sense. And there's not enough memory for Redis. Sure, whatever. Where is the runner shit? No, I've gone to the wrong place. No, I've gone out of runners. So in terms of runners, this latency, this availability, no. Oh, is this saturation? There we go. So for shared runners GitLab, I don't know what shared runners GitLab is, but if you look at both the stuff, last 6 hours is not useful at all. View, 7 days. I think the private one is hit 100%. I think private is just GitLab, so that's okay. It's just spinning. I think 10% is kind of significant because it's 10% out of a million. So what's 10%?
It's a very spiky graph.
Super spiky. It's reached 70% and so on. Okay, so the shared runners is orange-yellow graph, and it has gone up to 70, 80% still. So I would say we are reaching limits at some point. I think this is weekend, so that's why. So I would say we're kind of reaching limits, and I need to read the history of it.
Well, I don't know, because I think even if this auto DevOps detected part works perfectly, there's always going to be an increase. So I don't think if we're at the limit now, then I don't think we could do this at all. I think we probably need to fix our capacity problems first. Because even in the
Explain.
happy case, we're going to have more jobs built.
Okay, so we are assuming like some percentage of those implicit things were actually built, right, in the first place.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then is there any different to people going, oh, I got a GitLab CI, I shall put my GitLab CI? Because in theory, 100% of GitLab.com projects can put a GitLab CI explicitly, right?
Yeah.
So what's the difference? we're introducing more people to GitLab CI.
Yeah. On purpose.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, that's the difference, I guess. And some percentage of those would actually convert and actually use it. Okay, so we have 11 million projects on GitLab.com. So 10% is a million. Yeah, okay. 10% is already a million. Jesus.
1% is probably more appropriate.
What?
1% is probably more appropriate. But remember, though, the existing projects don't necessarily apply because either they have already, because existing projects have either, assuming they're Auto DevOps runs, they're either going to fail Auto DevOps and then have Auto DevOps disabled, so they'll never run pipelines like this again. But I guess they won't have ever run CI before, so. I think even in the happy case, though, we're going to increase the load. So I don't really see how the capacity problem can be an argument, because the whole idea is that we're going to run Auto DevOps on more projects.
And until we solve that, we can never go up to 100%.
Exactly.
Well, it's sort of compromised in 30%, right? It's like we're sort of pushing it up 30%. That's the capacity that we have. So we need to know what capacity we have. So there's two ways of doing it. One is to calculate and measure that capacity and figure out how much more we can. The other way is to push up the number out to DevOps in mini steps and then figure it out. If that actually does anything or not, which is what we've been doing. Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Will increasing this apply to current projects, though, or is it only on project creation? I don't know where this gets set. I think I've been told before, but I've never looked at
it. It's called Force Star Auto DevOps, one word, I think, by default. Yep, okay. And then it's in project. So Force Auto. It's for all projects.
Gotcha.
It's for all projects.
Well then, and 1% is the smallest increment we can do, right? Right. The ridiculous number of projects still.
Yeah, 1% is 119,000. But so 1%, okay, so 1% is 119,000 prospectively. And what is the percentage of projects out of that we anticipate will do that? 50? If we're generous?
That's what the experiment would show us, I guess.
Yeah. So even if it's 50%, let's just say that's pretty high, it's 59,000 new projects that will start running pipelines all of a sudden.
Yeah.
But again, as I say, maybe a lot of them will fail the first time anyway, even though the workflow matches, and then what? Oh no, it won't. There's a high chance that it will continue forever and ever because the workflow matches now. It will actually build and succeed. Interesting.
Right. But isn't that what we want? Where's the whole idea of turning this up to 100 is that people actually use Auto DevOps.
Yeah, and people actually use CI runners all the
The only
time.
problem here is that we don't want to spend all of our money on capacity, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. So I think that whether it will fail and turn yourself off, that is an argument for us leaving it on for a while, like maybe 2 or 3 days for the dust to settle, because there'll be a spike and then maybe it will go down a little bit, right? So that's maybe 0.9 as well. Okay, so if we reduce, say, the number of match projects to maybe 20%, that still gives us 21,500 new projects. Right? Interesting. Fuck, that's crazy. Right here. Okay, so I think we're a formula now, and I think we just need to have a little bit more confidence. So I think we should do the experiment because
I had another thought. We could check in the database how many projects there are with a past pipeline, with a auto DevOps pipeline that have Auto DevOps implicitly enabled.
right.
Because that'll give us the number out of 25% of all of our projects.
Yeah, that will, but then that's implicitly enabled, you say. But then that could be
it has to be
people.
implicitly enabled, otherwise the
Yeah.
workflow doesn't even apply.
No, but then there could be people actively making their project fit Auto DevOps.
Yeah, but that's the same thing though?
Well, I think the worry is that the vast majority of projects are not actively suited to Auto DevOps, and therefore running CI pipelines on those is just so, well, it's basically wasted capacity. That's my hunch anyway.
I think it was slightly underestimate just because the tests might have failed or something, and then Auto DevOps got turned off.
Oh, the test might fail. True. Yeah, which can happen too as well. Okay, that will give us the fourth number anyway, the fourth percentage, which is interesting. So we can do that, but I feel like that's the third thing to do. No, the second thing to do. The first thing to do is to figure out what is the percentage of potential matched projects, right?
Yeah. That's pretty hard to do.
Pretty hard? Sorry?
So,
pretty hard?
Import a lot of projects. Yeah, it's hard to do, I think.
It's really hard to get an accurate number to a significant confidence level, I guess. But if we import enough projects, we should be able to say that ratio is 20% or 50% or 10% or something, right? That's the idea. At least that's the idea. So if I spin it the other way around, if only 1% of projects match, then we are only looking at 1,000 projects, which is nothing.
Yeah, I mean, sure.
I think we should be able to at least. Sorry?
I have no idea what the lay of the land is, so I don't know what sort of projects people push up to GitLab.
Yeah, that's why we need to randomly sample. So at the very least, maybe we can say the order of magnitude is 1%, 10%, or tens of percents, more than 50%. I don't know. This is a bit like, trying to figure out if there's alien life in the galaxy. How many stars are there?
pretty much.
So I think I shall paste that formula in, then we can go from there. Do you have any spare capacity to do this at all? To write a script? Otherwise, we have to do it next week.
We can just add it to I still think we should wait for more data anyway, but we could add it to a release, couldn't we?
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Okay. Yeah, I think we need to wait for more data anyway. But by the time we write the script, it will be a week already, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
So, number of projects time percentage of fix implicitly times percentage of matched projects times percentage of, what do you call this? Pipelines passed. Let's round it up to 2, I guess. It's almost there. 1, 2. What? That's not right.
Times by 1.
That's murder. 60,000. Is 1% legit? I don't know. Maybe 10% is better. 12,000. Yeah, let's do the smaller magnitude as well, which is 1,200. There's also private projects as well, isn't it? That's the problem.
Yeah.
So if we can't test it on private projects, they could have a totally different profile as well.
Yeah.
That's the weakness of the experiment.
They might be even more important too because they use CI minutes or whatever, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. You know, there's another way of doing it, which is for existing projects, I don't know, we set it to false explicitly.
Oh yeah, then it's only new projects. Yeah.
Yeah.
Another option.
Yeah. That would be a cool option, I think. I don't know.
Maybe we could do it in such a way that we could still enable them in the future.
In the future, yeah, exactly. Yeah, but I think that's a different. Then I think that requires a code change then to say, here's an extra flag to do
Yeah.
it. Mm.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised this feature flag wasn't on project creation already. So it kind of makes more sense that way.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Because people who have already pushed up their projects kind of have things set up, right? They're not expecting things to change right now.
Yeah, I think that's half the problem, for sure. For sure. I mean, I've had a project running for years. I've been hosting my project for years on GitLab.com, and then suddenly one day it started running CI pipeline.
Sending me emails about the pipeline.
Yep. Yeah. And I think it would be particularly aggravating as well if, let's say, you run a lot of micro projects and you're just hosting it, and then suddenly one day you get like one per project, all failing. Oh, and then the aggravating thing is that also, which people have discussed as well, is that they get a big giant X as well on the project now on their homepage forever and ever.
Yeah.
Unless you can, I don't know whether I'm sure we must have. It is possible though to go into the project settings and disable pipelines altogether. That actually gets rid of the X. I found out, for one of my projects as well.
Big deal.
Mm.
But I don't know who would make that decision.
Anyway.
Yeah.
S. Oh. Okay. Yeah, this milestone needs to be moved somewhere else. 12.0. Hey, there's no 12.8. Well, I'll leave it alone. Let's see me Nicholas as well. Do you want to have a thing on this, James? Yeah, why not? Just so you know, just so you have an email.
Then I'll be watching.
Yep. Rough. So I think before. Let me reply to Thomas as well. Oh, thank you very much, sir. Yeah, well, we'll see what Daniel and Nicholas think, or anyone else. But that's really helpful. Thanks.
See ya.
I'll stop the recording now, and yeah, I'll chat later.
Bye.